Hi, I'm John Javik from Marina. And you're watching liveprog.
Welcome to liveprog. Welcome, I am your host Marcel Haster, and this is the 178th episode of liveprog, with a very interesting album to review. This one, now you already heard a little piece of it in the intro, Docker's Guild. And well, I can already say this is a concept album and a very interesting one, especially in the way it was, well, set up actually. But the title is a long one, because the official title of the album is The Mystic Technocracy, and then this says Season 1, The Age of Ignorance. Now, when you hear that, Season 1, it kind of reminds you of a TV series. And that is exactly how this album is built up, because if you would see the backside, and I hope you can see it, well, you'll see it later on, you see that the whole track listing is arranged in the way that this is a TV series, because the first track is called a trailer, and this is a short one, it's about 2 minutes. Then we move into the pilot episode. You know, always the first episode of a show is always something special, because, you know, with the trailer people get curious. With the pilot episode, then people will, you know, give their response and say, you know, will I like it, yes or no, will I watch it? And often based on the responses on a pilot, it is decided whether a series can move on. Of course, we don't have that part in it, but still, this first track is very important on the album. And I gotta say, when I heard that first track, then I knew this would be a very interesting and very beautiful album with a lot of great music to offer. So, well, we passed the pilot, we can move on, and then we have episodes all the way up to the last one is called episode 1.13. So we have altogether 13 episodes of this, this show. And it's a bit of a show. Let's first take a sidestep to the man behind this project, Douglas R. Docker. I must be honest, I had not heard of him, and it was a bit of by chance that I got a copy of this album, because I saw a posting from one of my Facebook friends, putting on this album and said that he was a part of it. Now, that Facebook friend was Mr. Goran Edman. You may be familiar with him from Karma Carnage, from Yngwie Malmsteen, and from a lot more. So I was interested, you know, and I looked at it and I looked at the lineup, and the lineup is very impressive. So that kind of made me curious. So I decided to look into this a little bit more, and I looked up this Mr. Douglas R. Docker on Facebook. And there I read about, you know, the things he did, the things he, the likes and dislikes he has, and it seems he's a big science fiction fan. You know, Star Trek, Babylon 5, and all this kind of thing. So, well, the whole story he put up on his Facebook made me very interested. So I got in touch with his label, Lion Music, and they were kind enough to send me a copy of this album. And here I am, bringing it to you.
One day the river swept, filling up the void, and gave back to Ymir, the father of franchise. His body made of ice, melting in heat, create that first kind of movie was his thing. Oh, it's time.
I very much enjoy listening to this album, because I think the music here is very good. It's very up-tempo, there's a good flow in the music, and well, not just the musicians are good, but also I like the songwriting. I like the production, it's very nice. I like the whole way this album is set up. Now, of course, when you advertise an album like this and say that it is a rock opera in the vein of Star One, Arian, Avantasia, it raises the bar. Now, I'm not gonna dive into the whole Arian thing, but in my opinion, Arjen Lucassen stands on a very high lonely ground in what he does, and I haven't heard an album that really reaches the same heights as he does. Notwithstanding that, I gotta say, this album is a good step in the right direction, because at times I do hear hints of Aryan in it. The way the vocals are done, there are a lot of multi-layered vocals in here. Well, that is something I absolutely enjoy. Also, the guitar work is really amazing. It's really good. That's definitely something that stood out for me when I listened to the album. Douglas R. Docker himself plays keyboards, and well, kudos, because also the keyboard parts really were delicious. Were very tasty. I really enjoyed them. He also does some vocals, and well, he happened to be the vocalist on the track that I really enjoyed, well, maybe the most, not entirely, but the third track, Darwin's Tears, I really enjoyed that one, and I especially like the vocals, so he is a very good singer as well. He doesn't sing very much, he has some other people doing it, but I have to open it up and show you who. Well, the full lineup of this project. Well, I mentioned Douglas R. Docker doing keyboards, doing vocals. We have Donald D. Docker also being a part, and I guess they're related for some reason. Now I have to cheat a little bit and look. Douglas D. Docker does saxophone, clarinet, and also some spoken words. Then we have Mr. Greg Bisonet. Now, I know him mainly from Eric Norlander and Lana Lane, but also from the Electric Light Orchestra. A very nice guy. I haven't met him, but I had some email contact with him a couple of years back. Very nice guy and a very skilled drummer. Magnus Jacobsen, sounds familiar. I must be honest, I didn't look him up. But also does drums on 2 tracks. Tony Franklin, bass player. Well, he's very well known. I also know him from Eric Norlander and Lana Lane. Guthrie Govan, well, do I need to say more? You know, very famous and very talented guitar player, and that is something you really hear on this album. Jeff Watson, John Payne, the current Asia featuring John Payne lineup with Eric Norlander in it again. As I mentioned, Goran Edman, you know, the man who kind of put me on the trail without him knowing it of this. Tony Mills, and another familiar name that keeps popping up at many different projects and bands, Amanda Sommerfeld. A couple of vocalists, a few musicians, not too many, you know, it doesn't get crowded, and that brings some rest in the music, and that is what I like absolutely. When I look at the track listing, I gotta be honest, there's one point of criticism I have. When you put on this album and you start listening, you start with the first track and you move on, and you hear the beautiful melodic music, the nice synthesizers, the great guitar riffs, really very melodic music, you know, sometimes a little bit leaning towards AOR, has proggy elements in it, really good. Then you come to track number 4, A Norse Cosmogony, part 1.
Det gåvade dem även kläder och namn. Mannen kallades Ask och kvinnan Embla. Och kom och därifrån det människobarn som det tilläts att bygga och bo inom Midgård.
That's a little bit of a what moment? Yeah, let's keep it nice. Because that's a spoken track with some piano in it, but it's in Norwegian. And well, the first time I just listened to it and I thought, oh, maybe something's coming, but it's like 4 minutes, well, to be exact, almost 5 minutes of Norwegian monologue. And that kind of brings the nice pace you have when listening to the music to a halt. After that 5 minutes, fortunately, the pace is picked up again and you get back in the flow of the music, and from that point on you can just enjoy the music until the very end of the album. That particular song, in my opinion, I skip it. Every time I play this album, I skip that track. I don't know why, but it feels odd in the music. Maybe it fits in the story, I don't know. I didn't mention about the story, of course. It's also very important because if you look at the cover again, you see these symbols, these religious symbols. Now, these three symbols depict the three monotheistic religions in this world. The Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims. When I looked at the Facebook page of Douglas R. Ducker, where he explains what this is about, he says that looking back at history, there's been a lot of bloodshed, a lot of violence, a lot of terrible things done in the name of God. Now, he takes that idea of religion and moves it into a science fiction setting, where religion is used to control the people. Does that sound familiar? Maybe it does. Now, he states very clearly that he is not anti-religion, but he's anti-people being brainwashed and, not being able to think for themselves anymore. Now, that is the story. It's important because that is the reason, one of the reasons why he made this album. I gotta be honest, I usually like to know a little bit what it's about, but I just listen to the music and enjoy it. Even if the story doesn't carry you, this is still a very interesting album to listen to. One other thing I noticed in the whole album is that there is a cover on the album, and I hadn't noticed it because, well, I'm not familiar with the original, but track number 9, episode 1.7, is called Loving the Alien, and a really great song. I really enjoy that song very much, but it turns out it's a David Bowie song. Now, I didn't know that, and if I had known, it fits perfectly in the whole album. The way it's played and everything, it fits perfectly in it. So, it's an interesting fact to know. But again, this has no influence on the whole flow of the album. It doesn't stand out. It fits perfectly well. Well, that's what I gotta say about this album. I'm kind of done because, as I said, I really enjoy this album. I really enjoy it very much. And of course I can be critical and I can look for things in this album, but why? Why do I need to do that? I mean, if it's nice music, if I enjoy to listen to it, that is the reason why I would buy this album. I'm not going to buy this album and put a magnifying glass on it and figure out what's wrong with it. No, I look for what's nice about it. And well, to me, the only criticism I have is that one track. Apart from that, fantastic album. So all I can say is check it out, Docker's Guild, The Mystic Technocracy, Season 1, The Age of Ignorance. And to let you know, there will be 4 more seasons, so 4 more albums by Douglas Ducker. So you have something to look forward to. Enjoy!